So, Sheryl Swoopes, in what is one of the funniest things I have ever seen. Like, it's becoming comedy now. Like, Caitlin Clark is Voldemort now for Sheryl Swoopes. This is the funniest player, former player, whatever you want to call it, beef. I don't know what you can even call this at this stage. I have ever seen. If you guys agree, this is hilarious. Subscribe. We're trying to hit 28.5k by the end of the day. Obviously, we're going to be watching the big game. The big Caitlin Clark not get swept game against the Connecticut Sun, which is going to be a big one. But this one is a wild one. Because last night, the player of the weeks came up during the game between the Aces and the... I'll just listen. You can listen to the audio. Like, just this graphic flashed up between the Aces and the Wings, which the Aces somehow lost. But this is what happened.
Got to go to the players of the week. Both of them had outstanding weeks, and they're the next two opponents to the Wings. Caitlin Clark will be here on Sunday for the week, averaged 25, and Avisa Collier averaged over 25. And, of course, the Lynx here Friday at 6:30 on Ion. And then the Fever come here at 3 o'clock before a sellout crowd. Tough stretch for Dallas.
10 seconds of silence.
Coming into the second half of the season,
like, there was just silence. There was just silence. And the funniest thing is, like, you guys need to get over this. Everyone doesn't need to like or explore or even acknowledge her. Yes, you do when you are on a WNBA broadcast. I'm sorry. Look, I'm not the biggest fan of A'ja Wilson. Like, she just annoys me. Not that I dislike A'ja as a player. I think she's really good. But, like, I will also be objective enough to say, A'ja Wilson hooped last night. Absolutely hooped last night. And outside of Jackie Young, the rest of that Aces team stinks. They absolutely stink as a team. Other than her. Like, it is literally A'ja and Prey. But Sheryl Swoopes is literally now refusing to say the name of Caitlin Clark. And you just can't do that. It would be like if, let's just say, I'm just trying to think of if Jeff Van Gundy, let's say Jeff Van Gundy's on commentary. And Jeff Van Gundy had some issue with LeBron James when he was coaching or something. And then refused to say the name LeBron James. There would be huge issues with that. There would be. If it was any player. Heck, let's just might say, I'm trying to think of like someone who could have been a rookie. I don't know. Let's just say when he was with the Knicks, he had a problem with Paul Pierce. Like, he had a problem with Paul Pierce when he was coaching the Knicks when he was with the Celtics. So he decided that I'm going to, on commentary, anytime Paul Pierce's name gets mentioned, I'm just going to be silent. I'm going to go on my WNBA sponsored podcast and just be silent on this player. And it's like, you do have to. And like, this is the perfect point. On your personal time, correct. You don't have to support anyone on your personal time. You cannot do this on a broadcast, but it's actually gotten hilarious. Like, she's literally just Voldemort. She is Voldemort. Caitlin Clark is Voldemort to Sheryl Swoopes. One of the GOATs, by the way. Like, look, Sheryl Swoopes is one of the greatest players ever. And I cannot stress that enough because I don't want what people are saying is like, oh, Sheryl Swoopes is annoyed that Caitlin Clark has already done more in her career than Sheryl Swoopes. No, Sheryl Swoopes is a 3-time MVP. Is she a 3-time MVP, 4-time champion? Like, Sheryl Swoopes was unbelievable. Yeah, you can obviously look at the box scores and think that, okay, yeah, Sheryl Swoopes is like, she wasn't as good as Caitlin Clark stats-wise. No, Sheryl Swoopes was better than Caitlin Clark. Like, prime Sheryl Swoopes is better than this current version of Caitlin Clark. We gotta just start the argument with that, because if we're gonna argue against Sheryl Swoopes, there's no point. The one thing you can't go at Sheryl Swoopes for is how good she was at the sport of basketball. Like, that's the one thing as of right now. Like, look, Sheryl Swoopes, it's a bit different because she came into the WNBA late. Like, she was one of those, like, original WNBA players. So I think she was, like, 27 or something as a rookie. But the one thing you can't say is that, like, Sheryl Swoopes, prime Sheryl Swoopes, was not better than rookie Caitlin Clark. That being said, though, like, it's gotten ridiculous. It's gotten funny at this stage, but she's gone so far. Like, I said she can't go and pull a Paul Pierce. I said never do a Paul Pierce. Like, I said it. I said never go full Paul Pierce because Paul Pierce was a Hall of Famer. But people remember Paul Pierce now more for the crap that like he has said in his career or in his post career. People remember him more for the dumb things he said, and I'll say that not all former players need to be on media because some of them just say crazy stuff. Paul Pierce is incredibly entertaining. He's not one of the ones I'm talking about in that, but like, geez, some of them just say dumb stuff to say dumb stuff, like. And and just because you played the game at a high level doesn't mean not necessarily that you know the game, doesn't mean that you're a good evaluator of players. Because there's a difference between knowing the game, and being an evaluator of players. Like Sheryl Swoopes, obviously, again, as good as she was, she obviously knows the game. So no one's going to question that. But it's like, she might just be a bad evaluator of players. But like every single one of her criticisms of Caitlin Clark. But again, this all starts from the multiple lies Sheryl Swoopes said about Caitlin Clark. People are like, oh, why does Sheryl Swoopes get some hate? Sheryl Swoopes gets more hate than everyone else because she lied. Like Diana Taurasi got way less hate because what Diana Taurasi said was just a take that aged badly. Gino Auriemma, off with the dumbest take in history. The reason why Sheryl Swoopes gets so much hate is because she is the only person who has lied about Caitlin Clark. Said, the only reason she was scoring that many points was that she was 25 years old, scoring on 20-year-olds. Then also, again, said the only reason she broke the points record is because it took her 5 years. Like, this was a succession. She said the 20-year-old thing, then was told, no, she's not 20. And then said she spent 5 years in college. Then she was told, no, she was 4 years in college. Then goes, well, she shoots about 40 shots a game. She shot 19.8 shots per game in college. Like, they were like one after the other, lie after lie after lie. And then as well, Sheryl Swoopes, I think in 2023, I think she broke one of her records, and she then went on record going at Caitlin Clark, or going out saying this, she didn't actually really break the record because we played one less game. And I think that like her points per game was higher than Swoopes was. So like it's just like it's gotten to a level of hate where it's no longer a bad thing. It's just funny. I'll stand by this. Like Sheryl Swoopes refusing to talk about Caitlin Clark and refusing to even mention her name like she's Voldemort. Like, again, if you are a podcast host, if it's your own platform, you can do whatever the hell you want. But when you are being employed by the WNBA, your job is to talk about the WNBA. And people are talking about promote the game. Unfortunately, like, you have to, when you're playing against the, like, when you're out there playing, or when you're talking about players, you're promoting the game, you have to promote everyone. Even if it's a player you don't like, promoting the game does not just mean promoting Caitlin Clark. Promoting the game means promoting everyone, and that includes Caitlin Clark. If you are going at Caitlin Clark, you are not promoting the game. As in, difference between criticizing and then doing what Sheryl Swoopes is doing. And it's the same with other players. If you are promoting one player only, then you're not growing the game. And if you're actively making sure to not mention a player for someone who talks about growing the game, you're not growing the game either.